All right, folks, welcome back for another episode. I wanted to welcome my next guest, who is a returning guest. He's an MC from Portland, Oregon, known for his unique blend of introspective lyricism and thought-provoking storytelling. You know him from his certified rap classic Shades of Grey and his catalog of music that has cemented him a place amongst rap's elite. Outside of music, his ministry work serves as a platform to inspire and uplift others with a message of hope and healing throughout the community. And today we're here to talk about his new album, Handcrafted Raps, 12 tracks of dope hip hop, all produced by 1995. How are you? Welcome back.
What up, man? I'm doing good. Thank you for having me, bro.
Absolutely, man. I'm always stoked to have you on, and man, just again, been a long time fan, and it was awesome to see you put this new project out. But lots happened since then. I mean, you did a trip to Japan. That had to be amazing too, right?
Yeah, man. It was my daughter's graduation present.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we just got to mob around together, kind of once in a lifetime kind of trip. That was a
Mhm.
blast. We were mainly between, sorry, somebody was texting me,
Yeah,
between Yokohama and Tokyo.
yeah,
And we spent all of our time there. We would have loved to explore even more, but
yeah.
it was like a 8-day trip or so.
Yeah, Yokohama's dope. Like I grew up maybe 30 minutes on train away from Yokohama. So we used to go all the time. It was really cool.
Okay.
Well, hey man, I'm excited to get into it. First album after so many years. And what motivated you to just want to put something down again?
Man, I mean, I think part of what happened, because a lot of people know I was in the group Beautiful Eulogy. We
Hmm.
did a trilogy of albums. They did well. And I think from there, coming back as a solo artist was pretty intimidating. And I kept envisioning these really epic projects that I would start and then I wouldn't finish.
Oh man.
And so what eventually happened was I was like, dude, I just need to get back to having fun, making music and enjoying it. And so I found a local studio, not too far from me. And I just started booking out 6 hours on Mondays, which is one of my days off.
Okay.
And I would just go in there with a beat and I'm just going to write whatever I come up with, lay it down, and then move on to the next and just have fun creating. That's why it was called Handcrafted Raps. Just like, man, I'm just going to put something together
Wow.
and, uh, and have fun making music. And then if I can actually get something to the finish line, I think that would give me more confidence to keep attempting even more epic ideas. But man, if I keep like trying ideas and not finishing them, then I'm probably going to just like bury music off to the side. So that
Wow.
was like get something to the finish line and have fun doing it.
And what was the decision point for you to say, okay, 12 tracks, I'm good? Or did you record 20 and pick the best 12?
Yeah, no, that's good. There was so every now and then the producer in 1995, uh I would just kind of peep, like he'd put up some beats on SoundCloud. He's like, yo, I'm gonna let some of these go. I'd pick one up and then I like, oh, I should make a song to this. And
Yeah.
then time passes and I didn't do it, and then more time. So some of them beats I picked up like 7 years ago. So I was
Whoa,
I
wild.
was sitting on this collection of beats. And so
Yeah.
some of them I got 7 days ago, some of them I got 7 years ago.
Wow.
And I just decided to hone in and say, I realized I have enough tracks from this dude. I could just do it based on the tracks from him.
Yeah.
And he jumped in, he like added, I think it was Workmanship and Step Up Part 2.
Yeah.
Those were like newer. And then I had the other 10. So I didn't exactly know how it would all come together as an album, but it was like it just kept unfolding as I chipped away.
Yeah. Well, I love the thought process behind it where you were like, let me just go in there, right, and see what happens. And sometimes for me as an MC, I'm like, okay, let me write this album surrounding a theme, which almost makes it too difficult. And so I think I love it, man. That was just kind of like how it was when I first started, right? You just write, see what happens, boom, move on to the next track. And was it always just one track in that 6 hours, or did sometimes you feel inspired and do three tracks? What was your output in each session?
Yeah, early on, because I was like, I had the cannon loaded, right? So I think like
Yeah.
one time I went in and like I knocked out like two or two and a half. But
Wow.
then sometimes I would go and it's like, man, I just got one verse done. So each time it was his own thing.
Yeah.
Uh, each one was different, and then I would revisit songs if I felt like it was close but not quite there. But my goal was always to put something to bed. That's kind
Yeah.
of the phrase I would use for myself. Is like I got to put one of these songs to bed,
Yeah.
because if I just spend 6 hours in the studio and like all I was doing was juggling some words and didn't get anywhere. But all of it is progress, man. It was
Yeah.
just the goal was go in and make progress, go in and make progress, go in and make progress, and keep plucking away. And then the whole concept started developing within the handcrafted raps of
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, there's labor here. This is work.
Yeah.
It's for the benefit of other people. And so like learning to enjoy your work, being rightly motivated in your work, all of those themes, they kind of caught me off guard where I was like, oh, I think I just like made an album about ordinary life faithfulness,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
um,
great.
and that's what it kind of turned into. And so it was fun because sometimes I do like what you're saying. I
Yeah.
have a very specific concept in mind, and it's
Yeah.
almost like the concept is so important to me, and the
Yeah.
idea is so important to me that turning it into a song becomes really overwhelming, but also limiting. Where it's like,
Yeah.
well, I can't say that because I want to talk about this. And so
Yeah.
there was a lot of freedom here to just move in a direction and let it unfold.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I thought in general, just a nod to being creative in the art of making. And again, seeing what happens at the end of it. Not awesome album. It did not lose a step, and a very amazing listen. When I usually do these album reviews, I'll listen to the album in pieces, right? Okay, hey, let me do two songs a night and then figure out what I like or what I don't like. And then but when I went through this album in one night because it was so dope, I was like, dang, it was late too. It was like, okay, and that's what I was trying to do, right? It was maybe 9 o'clock, and I was like, let me listen to about three tracks like a week ago, and then I was like, oh man, I got to keep going. It was really good. So hats off to you, man. Really great.
Thank you. That's encouraging.
Yeah. Hey, I heard that, or at least I read that you did the artwork with your daughter. Is that true? Or, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
tell me
for
about
all the
that.
singles and for the album cover, my daughter Gabby
Dope.
did the artwork. And so I had this kind of to play off that like playful idea of like, what if the artwork looked like, crafty and like look, I wanted that playful side and just handmade side to come through.
Yeah,
And yeah, uh if she has a vision, she's able to just pull it off. So it's like I could have never pulled off the artwork myself, but I could like throw an idea at her. And then
yeah,
she's like, well, if you want to do that, Dad, we got to do this, or
yeah,
if you want to do that. And so,
yeah.
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely handcrafted. And I mean, loosely, it reminded me of the DIY era in a
Totally.
modern kind of way. So,
Yeah.
really cool, man. And so listening habits of people today. It's very different from when you first made music in the 90s. And so, two questions I had for you was that how did that influence the way that you released this album? Was there any hesitation releasing vinyl and just going all digital? Was that a tough decision? And what were
You
you
know,
thinking?
yeah, I think I'm still exploring this vinyl thing, but
Yeah,
from just doing calculations with CDs and vinyl,
yeah,
it really blew me away, how many times somebody would need to listen to an album to equal the same amount of support for an artist as if you bought a CD. The
100%.
numbers are like they're just like, "What?"
Yeah, yeah, for
Think
sure.
about it,
Yeah,
even the albums you love, let's just say for the artist to make 10 bucks, and I don't
yeah.
even think this is correct, but let's just say for them to make 10 bucks, you need to listen to that album 100 times start to finish on streaming.
Ah,
Be honest, how many
yeah,
albums do we listen to start to finish? But it's like that doesn't mean you didn't gain any benefit from the album.
yeah.
There's albums that I've maybe only listened to start to finish like two or three times, but they still left an impression on me, right?
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
you think about the medium of film, there's a lot of movies, if I was to list off movies that I like,
Yeah.
a lot of them I've only ever seen it once.
Great point.
Probably I wouldn't even really wanna see it again because I already know it. I'm familiar with it. It depends on what kind of movie it is. But if it's not a comedy or something where you're just laughing at jokes, it's a story, you're like, "Well, no, I know the story. I watched the story. All the surprise is gone," because
Yeah.
I've already seen it. But when I saw it, I enjoyed the art, I enjoyed the medium, and
Yeah.
it left a mark on me. And so I just started thinking, if I could, be consistent
Mm.
for a period of time, be releasing kind of limited edition vinyl and CDs,
Yeah.
then if I can find an audience that resonates with that,
Yeah.
then it's going to self-sustain the creation of more music because I
Yeah.
think streaming alone, since I'm not a touring artist, streaming alone does not really self-sustain unless I was going to try and aim for just a ridiculous size audience, start running, ads and do this and do that. And I'm just like, man, that game is just not fun to me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I would rather create bodies of work, um, be consistent with it, and let it find its audience. Find the people
Yeah. I like
with
that.
it and appreciate it. And the cool thing about music, man, is while it does seem like uh, the lifespan is getting shorter and shorter, the reality is if an artist is being consistent, people can continue to discover their catalog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of the way the algorithms work and all that, it's like, man, I'm not going to be a master of that, but I find that new people do find me. And so I want to have stuff that they can find,
Sure.
you know? And so, if I move 200 pieces of vinyl, and I price things correctly, then
Yeah.
it's like that can play a larger role in recouping all the expenses to make the album. And then from there, the digital actually is profit. And it's not taking me, a year of streaming revenue just to recoup.
That's
And
cool.
that means I can get right back started on the next project the
Yeah.
second I, break even from the vinyl. So that's kind of my thinking there, man, and I want to see it snowball over time
Yeah.
where I get to the point where eventually maybe my digital revenue is to the point where I can afford to make the album just based off revenue that's coming in.
Yeah.
And then I'm actually getting profits from merchandise and stuff on top of that. But all that just goes back to my family.
Yeah.
It's not my career right now,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you can only justify taking so much time away from your family, all of these things, especially if you're spending money to do that. It could
Yeah.
be a really expensive hobby.
Great
You
point.
know what I mean? But
Great
if there's
point.
a value to what this is and people find value in it, then figuring out how to recoup expenses, figuring out how to monetize it, I think it's just good stewardship, over the art, and it'll allow me to be more productive than I could be if I wasn't intentional in that kind of way.
Yeah, as a collector, I appreciate the physical copy too. The story that it tells when you hold the copy of the album in your hand, the art, and then the actual physical act of playing the vinyl on the record
Yeah.
players is an experience for me. And I was just curious. But another thing I noticed too, and I don't know if it was just me just being oddly too deep and thinking too much into it, was the length of each song. Did that like I noticed that in
Mm,
general it stayed at the 2 minute, yeah, more 2.5 minute mark, as opposed to traditional songs when we were rapping more earlier when songs were like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. And
yeah,
did
yeah,
that
yeah.
have anything to do in the decision calculus of a song, or that's just how it played out?
Some of it is, I think this is part of the freedom was
Yeah.
I would listen to the beat and the idea that I want to convey.
Okay.
And sometimes I felt like um, I want the song to be something that you could think on it more than how much I exhausted it, but
Yeah.
that I just opened up
Mm.
a thought for you,
Okay.
right? And so and in some songs I'm like, uh, I, I I don't know that I've yet accomplished this, but it's like if you can open up a thought for someone through art where
Yeah.
they start thinking about something that they weren't really thinking about,
Yeah.
and because
Mm.
you didn't like close and exhaust it, it leaves room for them to like think further on that thing, right?
Yeah.
And so that was part of it. Part of it was knowing that the production, since a lot of it, the things I'd collected, I'm like, these aren't really beats that are composed out with like a lot of changes and a lot of transitions. So we
Mhm.
did back in the day, man, we would make 4-minute songs where the
Yeah.
beat would drop and there would be no change ups at all. And you're just
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right.
4 minutes. I
Yeah.
feel like the appetite, even for myself,
Yeah. Great
if a
point.
song
Good
if
point.
a song lacks dynamics and if a song lacks things, it's like I do lose interest. I mean, you have to
Yeah.
be a very high level MC to just
Yeah.
rap for like 4 minutes straight
Yeah.
and me not be like, all right, I get it, bro.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so I think that's one. But also
Good
the
point.
vinyl medium, I've been creating with the vinyl medium in mind, where
Ah.
some artists, what
Yeah.
they're doing because they don't understand how vinyl works, they're cramming like 30 minutes of music on one side of vinyl.
Yeah.
And what's going to end up happening is you're either going to have a distorted record
That's
or
it.
you're going to have a very quiet record.
Yeah.
And so by creating like a 30-minute to 34-minute album, it's something that can actually breathe on the
Yeah.
vinyl,
That's the
And so
point.
I'm actually letting me knowing that this is going to go on vinyl.
Yeah.
And so if I want to do longer songs, I would just do less songs.
Hmm.
Or if I wanted to do more songs, like I did in this case, then let the songs be shorter. And
Yeah.
so it kind of plays in a way. I think that's why you
Yeah.
started with 3 songs, but they go by so quick. You're like, wait a second, where's this going?
Yeah.
And it keeps moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a way I've been trying to
Yeah.
think about creating in our modern context, and then
Yeah.
also bring back this medium of vinyl.
That's a great point because, as you mentioned, the more you put on one vinyl, especially one side, you degrade the sound quality. And then on the other hand, if you're creating more and longer, you got to go with the double vinyl option, which is sometimes not cost effective, especially if we're doing it for whatever reason outside of perform or touring and stuff. So
No,
great point,
I
man.
learned that
Great
with
answers.
the gray man, the double vinyl is mad expensive. And
Yeah.
also as a listener, I
Yeah.
think of it like this, bro, with how busy life is in our world,
Mm.
like if you want me to sit down for 30 minutes
Yeah.
versus you want me to sit down for 70 minutes, those are
Yeah.
two different experiences,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so if I can give you this like 30-minute listening experience that like pushes you in a direction, gets you thinking in certain ways, or it's something you can enjoy or just appreciate, um, I feel like I'm respecting the listener's time,
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm
a great
also
point.
respecting
Yeah.
the season of life I'm in. Yeah, Kendrick Lamar can drop an 80-minute album, and he
Yeah.
can do that right now because he's at the top of the listeners list right now. I'm still refighting for people's attention and stuff, so I'm like, here, let me give you something you can digest,
Yeah.
you rock with it, and we'll build from there.
Yeah. Hey, it's great. And you mentioned a minute ago that, success is if you are able to draw thought from the listener, and you do that in the first song, right? Intense. So, right, I envision just, a tent city. But then what made me think more was the hook, right? I was like, oh man, the wordplay between intense and just the word intense, right? Yeah, it was
Love that.
great, right? Like I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, yeah. So with a pen and paper, I'm a tent maker, stranger in this world. I'm a tent dweller, spent my whole life intense. This life gets so intense, and I appreciated that as a writer, and so. Yeah, that's what it did. It drew thought, and I was like, oh, I wonder what he was thinking when he came up with that hook and decided to go with that wordplay between those words. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, man, and some of this is fun.
Yeah.
I love getting to share these things because I'm blending like so much. So one, the idea of with the pen and paper, I'm a tent maker. If
Yeah.
you know of the Apostle Paul in the Bible, so he's a preacher of the gospel, but
Okay.
then what he did on the side was he made tents, and
Oh,
that's how he supported his ministry. And so by
wow.
saying with the pen and paper, I'm a tent maker, it's like I'm actually using music on the side to supplement my ministry.
Wow.
And then stranger in this world, I'm a tent dweller. Paul in his own teaching talks about how our bodies, our physical bodies, since they're perishable, they're temporary homes, right? So
Yeah.
it's like this body is not going to last forever. Like I am a being who can gain eternal life, but this physical body itself, I'm clothed in immortal flesh. And so by saying I'm a tent dweller, I've got
Yeah.
a temporary residence in my own body, but also in this world. And so that's why I'm a stranger in the world and a tent dweller. And yet, this is all I know. I've spent my whole life in tents, right? I've been a
Yeah.
vagabond my whole life. And then because of my mortal flesh, because I'm a vagabond in this world. This life is intense, right? Like I'm facing difficulty. I'm confronted with my weakness, and so yeah, there's like layers. And I know not everybody will catch it, but I'm like, if what I'm trying to learn to do to
Yeah.
what you drew out is if I can use wordplay, if I can use lyricism, there's low-hanging fruit
Yeah.
where you're like, oh, I think he's saying more than what it sounds like he's saying.
Yeah.
It's gonna draw. And then it's like, if you want to go deeper with me, we can keep talking about this. And that's the same idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and these lines then make so much more sense, right? You say, "May your presence dwell in me and be manifested in tents." Oh man, turn these jars of clay into sacred vessels, build your people into a holy temple. Man, that was great. I love the story behind it, and it was a great first track because that's what it did. I was like, okay, man, he's back, right? So, was that difficult to make your first song? Was there like any hesitation? Did you have a couple songs that you wanted for them to be track number one, or was it this immediately? Which I think was a great choice.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So I had the beat. The beat was called Presidential when the producer made it. So I thought it was just going to be an interlude track, so it was kind of sitting on the back burner. I didn't really know how the album would start. And then eventually I was like, I think it should start, with just something short.
Yeah.
And so then when I came up with Intense, I mean, I was probably just mumbling or who knows, but it was actually later
Yeah.
in the process of the album. It wasn't one of the first songs I made,
Okay.
but as the album started making more and more sense to me, it's like this championing hard work.
Mm.
But I actually start the album saying like, I'm weak, and I need help. And I felt like that gave a good juxtaposition to my message that I'm not really just trying to make a like pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of album, but I'm saying like, no, I acknowledge that I'm weak. I acknowledge I can't do it on my own, but that doesn't mean that the work I have to do isn't important and I shouldn't give myself to it.
Yeah, no, it was great. And so that also had me thinking, and I think more so after the second song, The Craftsman, where I felt like this album was also championing a message for the blue collared man. That's who I am, right? Just a
Mhm.
normal blue collar dude working 9 to 5, trying to make it. And I say that because the message behind the craftsman again drew thought and just made me reflect. The hook, it's the craftsman, work with your hands and make it happen. Because that's my mentality, man. Just make it happen, man. Yeah, it's the craftsman, provide for your fam, no doubt, work it out. And so it's just like me talking to myself, which I do, right? Like, when I get through going through hard times, I'm like, I gotta self-motivate myself and I'm a self-starter. And I love that. And then, at the end too, it's like whether you're washing dishes or digging ditches, your work makes a difference. So let's handle business. And I'm like, and I always give respect no matter what you do from A to Z, man. Hey, man, just make it work, man. As long as you're doing good things, hey, it'll all work out and just work hard and get to the finish line. So I was truly inspired by that. And the first song altogether had me thinking that. Any thoughts on that second song?
No, that's just dope hearing your reflections. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think when you're an artist, man, people would you get put on a pedestal, right? Because you uh I mean, people come come to a concert to watch me work, and a
Yep.
lot of times, like, other people, like, you don't pay to go watch them work, you know? And so it's just this interesting thing. But in this season of life, that's what I was saying. Like, I used to be, all the people around me were like artists, right? MCs and DJs
Right.
and stuff. Now it's like my friends are like, they've gotten into trades, they've gotten into this. And I started like
Yeah.
really growing a respect for, it's one thing when somebody does the thing that they love, and it's all about the thing that they love. But I started having a great respect even for people who, man, I don't love my job necessarily, but I love my family. And so I
Yeah.
handle my job in order to take care of them. And
Yeah.
I was like, bro, instead of looking down on that, which I think sometimes when we grew up, it was all like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to
Yeah.
do? And all this stuff. And so much of our identity can get wrapped up in like, what is it that I do? And am I successful at it? And but most of us out here, man, we're just doing real ordinary work,
Yeah.
providing services that people need. And then that's helping us to provide for our needs and the needs of our family. And that matters. It's like, it's not just, what does it look like to other people, or other people impressed with what I do? Man, I've
Yeah.
got business to handle, and other people benefit when I handle it. And so it
Yeah.
matters, and so if I could just like, tell somebody who's like, oh yeah, just my job or whatever, I'm like, bro, I'm proud of you. Like,
Yeah.
there's babies um eating because you work. You know what I mean? There's people
Yeah.
who are sleeping in a bed because you work. And I never want to look down on
That's
somebody who's taking care of their family. And
right.
I, whatever their job is,
Yeah.
not just the value in, oh, I'm this, but
Yeah.
it's like, man, what are you accomplishing through your work, man? You're taking care of people. And that's it. That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. That last line, man, just does, hey, your work makes a difference. And again, yeah, it doesn't matter what you do. And sometimes we get into situations where people will ask you what you do to gauge on how the way they treat you. And it's like, man, come on,
Mhm.
dude. Like, hey, everybody's just trying to get by. Everybody got problems, and let's make this life easier for everybody, right? So great, man. For first two tracks off to a bang. And then we jump into the third track, Step Up Part Two. Probably one of my favorite beats, right? So I think, and then I found another one, but this is one of my favorites for sure, right?
Yeah.
But I saw just again more introspective lyricism. The lyrics, so keep on. This life is not ours. Just do it with the gift you've been given by the one who's in charge. Bars. Life goes by fast. The industry gonna crash. These days might be our last. And like, oh man, again, just more reflection too on that life being short, and man, use the time wisely, right? Um,
Yeah.
eh, yeah. So, did you have a favorite beat on the album, or
That
just
that was definitely one of them. I had another beat that had that little step up sample, but it didn't feel
yeah,
like it really fit.
hmm
And what was funny is that 1995, he was like, yo, because I was sending him the songs as I was finishing them. He's like,
yeah,
man, I got this beat. It's probably just going to sit on my hard drive. If you want
uh-huh.
it, it's yours. And
Jeez.
then it comes in with the drums and the piano. And I'm like, bro, that's step up part two. So I started putting in the
Yeah,
sample myself, and
yeah,
flipping it, because I had a step up part one on Native Lungs. So that's why I called it part two.
okay,
And what I thought I was going to do, because step up part one, I talk about my daughter Gabby, but this was when she was 3.
okay,
Mind you, she's 18 by the time I'm making this album. But
yeah,
I did another song about her, so I thought I was going to talk about my other kids on Step Up Part Two. But then because the beat was more boom bap, once I started rhyming,
yeah,
I was like, I can't force it,
yeah,
uh, and so it just came out a little different. But it is more. Uh, it's the song that's the most cohesive in the sense of if you're a fan of particularly, I would say like mid to late 90s boom bap, you know what I mean? So it's not the early 90s boom bap, but it's like the cousin of it, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that used to be my sweet spot. And so I don't always just try and repeat the same thing over and over again, but this is
Yeah.
just, it came out, you know? So if you're ahead from that, like, you know, late 90s, early 2000s
Yeah.
underground hip hop, it has that ring to it, you know?
Yeah. Hey, is 1995, is he a friend, someone that you found online, or what's your relationship with him?
We had I think we met in person just once, like when he was
Okay.
on tour with some friends of mine. But
Okay.
yeah, I would just see his name pop up,
Mm,
and he's a bit younger than me. So he at one time, you know, was listening to my music, and then
okay.
like as I was slowing down, he was on the come up. And yeah, once I realized I liked his sound and I liked certain things about him, that's where whenever he would post like, "Yo, I got beats" or whatever, I would just check them out, and
Yeah,
if I
yeah,
found something I liked, I'd be like, "All right, let me pick that up. Maybe I'll do something to that." And
yeah.
yeah, I think what's interesting with him that I appreciated was I could tell he was a fan of what I call like the essence of hip hop,
Mm,
where he's got an ear for samples and things like that, but then he's got like a little bit of a bounce to him and some modern percussive techniques that are not your standard chopping up of drum breaks and stuff like that. And so he has like a unique bounce where there's like a boom bap aesthetic
yeah.
to his production, but then he has his own twist. And I think that always just intrigued me about him.
Mm.
And yeah, so I ended up just collecting beats from him until I had a project.
Yeah, it worked out nicely, man. And again, just each song, there is a certain reason why I like it. And track four, Bargain, it was the wordplay and punchline that I enjoyed in that song. It's the new chapter, a new era, animated bars, Hanna-Barbera, Quick Draw McGraw, Targaryen, Barbarian. I'm back again, bearing bars in the backyard again. Nicely done, man. Um, yeah, when you write stuff, when you write stuff like that, are you like, yeah, guess yeah? Are there certain pieces like when you write it, you're like, oh yeah, I got this one, I nailed it. Yeah.
I used to actually do these bar freestyles when I'd be on the road with my friends. And so a lot of like boys become men, it's a bar mitzvah. I just be joking with my
Yeah.
friends, you know. But
Yeah.
I had like a whole collection in just like a notepad in my phone,
Uh-huh.
like a little note of like these little bar lines.
Yeah.
And then when that hit like more bars than you bargained for, I'm like, oh man, this is perfect. But I had
Yeah.
not played around like that or made a song that's just about like kicking ball. I mean, I haven't done that for like 20 years or something like that. You know what I mean? It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was doing it all by myself.
Okay.
And so literally no one is reacting, right? It's just me by myself. So I don't
Yeah.
know, do people get it? Is
Yeah.
it clever? Is it played out? I don't know. I'm just having fun, man.
Right.
Literally, that's what it is. But
Yeah.
I did. I always like taking something like that and seeing if you can stretch it out, do layers
Yeah.
to the concept. And so by the time when you're like the second verse, most of that is just me kind of like freestyling ideas. I like it, so I write it down. Then I
Yeah.
come up with the next one,
Yeah.
write it down, and I kind of start even breaking my own rules where I'm doing like the Bardigan sweater, where it's like, okay, that's not even a bar word. Now you're
Yeah.
just now you're just
Yeah.
making things up.
Yeah.
But it's literally just, I mean, I think if somebody else tried to make the same song, they'd be like, dang it, bro, he really didn't leave me many words
Yeah. Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
It was like I found every possible bar word I could
Yeah.
find.
Yeah, and that's funny you mentioned the line too that I had quoted to that I was gonna kick back to you. So when these bars hit you, boys become men. It's a bar mitzvah. Though. That was good, man. I thought that was hilarious, right? So sometimes those lines I gotta play back and just it was a good laugh, and I appreciate that stuff too. Again, good wordplay, and then punchlines that just pack a punch, right? So. That was good. Good track. And then you decide to go and put us in our feels with the song Frozen, right? So you got a song about your daughter and then just the cartoon references that gave me a good connection with youth in general. And just even the song title, Frozen, right? You think about the movie. And so just easy for me to picture
Mm,
the canvas that you're painting. I don't know if that was the intent, but that's what I drew. And then were those audio bites of you and your daughter for real?
yeah, yeah.
Man, yeah, that adds to it, bro. Really
I
good.
was what I did on both bargains. So in the beginning, my son, when he's saying like, "Do you have any bars?"
Yeah.
He was talking about granola bars, right? So he was at like, "Do you
Yeah.
got any bars?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "No," but I just happened to film it, and
Uh-huh.
so I actually sampled that off my own Instagram. And then for
Oh,
Frozen, it's the same thing. When
yeah.
my daughter, she's talking to my youngest daughter because we were in an airport,
Yeah.
and so I like took that and then I'm like, okay, we're going on airplane, like we're traveling or we're going on a journey. So it's
Yeah.
like how I could tie these things together. But it was hilarious. I was literally
Yeah.
just scrolling through my own Instagram, finding old videos, be like, oh, let me rip that audio, let me rip that audio, put it together.
Yeah, that was great, and the girl singing to it, and then again the hook too, man, was really good. For I tell everybody this when I feel it is true, and hook writing is very difficult, and some people can do it, and it's just difficult, right? But yeah, you do it really well. Life wasn't meant to be frozen. Type time keeps going. We keep growing. It just went with the theme, and hey, my daughter is growing. And is this the one that you took to Japan? I mean, I'm sure you took all
Yeah,
your
yeah.
pictures, but this is
Yep.
what about her? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She was preparing because we were preparing for her 18th graduation.
Yeah.
And, a big thing with this too, a lot of times when your kids are growing up, I remember like when she first became a teenager, like, oh no, dad, are you worried?
Yeah.
And it's kind of the generic things we say, and I get why we say it, but I think it also sometimes implies like, oh yeah, I just wish they were little still. But I'm like, I
Yeah.
actually want to enjoy each stage, of watching her and grow and develop. And I'm like, man, nah, I don't wish she was little. I got to enjoy when she was little.
Yeah.
Now I wish she was exactly the age she is, and it's dope having an 18-year-old. She actually just turned 19 on Wednesday.
Very nice.
So she just had her next birthday. But then also, this song I could have wrote like 10 verses, but just writing
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
verse was like, I'm going to tell you part of our story, um, but I'm not going to exhaust it. But I kind of allude to in some of her teenage years, she started struggling with more like intrusive thoughts, OCD like things. And
Yeah.
man, we went through a season where there was just a lot of tension in our home, and it wasn't just that she needed to grow, the whole family needed to grow. We needed to learn, oh, how do we best care for her? What kind of resources do we need? Sometimes I was trying to help, but I end up making it worse instead of making it better because I don't know how to help in that situation. And so, in order to help her grow, I got to grow. And, we went through times where, like, she might be in an episode and it would last for like 6 hours, to where all of a sudden, because I learned and she learned and we had more shared understanding, instead of 6 hours, we could get through an episode in 10 minutes. And so, like, when I'm talking about, I'm like really proud of her. It's like I watched her like be in a dark place and be in the trenches and come out on the other side. And yeah, so it's not just like, oh, you're my kid, so I think you're cool. It's also like, nah, I've actually seen God's work in your life. I've seen the ways you're maturing and growing. I'm proud of you. I'm proud to be your dad. And I'm glad to be in this season with you. I don't wish I could go backwards. I want to keep moving forward and see, how else God is going to use you throughout the course of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Great, man. And yeah, just again, I know that you did the songs just to create, and there wasn't a specific overall theme in mind. And but I mean, you keep doing it track after track. You do it again on Worksmanship, great free feature. But again, just some of the stuff again, very relatable, man. Sometimes it makes me weak. Other times I laugh and leap. And sometimes you just gotta like let go and let faith and your belief in God just take over, right? And you do that in the lyrics and remind me that. And I've been trying to live my life like that. Like if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. Work hard, and I believe God will put me on the right path or where I need to be, right? So even when I'm lacking sleep, Jesus, my savage rest, knowing He's the way to truth means I don't have to guess. Resurrected in the life means I conquered death, right? So you're living life. I feel like, hey, I'm just doing it. I'm doing what I think I need to do, and I'm gonna get to where I need to be. Just put my life in God's hands, right? That's what I felt. So, great,
Yeah.
great track, man. Yeah,
It
yeah,
was cool to work with the dude Abel.
yeah.
Both the features on the album, Abel and Selah the Corner,
Yep.
are guys I'd never worked with before.
Okay.
And I was getting in the project. I was like, man, who would I ask to jump on this? And, I got all my people that I've rapped with a bunch of times. So I was like, man, it'd be fun to work with some new people,
Sure.
people who have been more active, you know, in the recent years, where it's like, man, I started hearing these guys like the last 5 years, and I haven't even been active the last 5 years. So I felt like it would be a good challenge to
Yeah.
put them on a song. And both of them, I sent them the beat, man, and they turned around their verses before I even had a verse done. And so
Hell
then I
yeah.
was like, snap, I gotta keep up with them,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're sharp. They're still doing this all the time. And I'm like finding my pocket again. So it was really good to yeah, just collaborate with some people who are presently active, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Sure.
Um, and so while I'm dusting it off, I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna take the easy route. I'm gonna, spar with some people who are sharp and
Yeah.
force myself to get sharper as well.
No, that's great, man. Yeah, and so again, just a great trajectory in terms of this album being a great project. And the reality of things is that you go through an album, and as a listener, as someone that's going to review it, as I was doing, sometimes there are beats that you like, and sometimes there's beats that that just don't really hit you, right? So I get to this next song, "Under the Knife," right, and I think 1995 is awesome, but as far as like, like okay. All right. I was like, okay, where's this going, right? And I always try to decide like what's my favorite beat and so on. And I knew
Mhm.
that one didn't really capture my attention, but I was gonna listen to it. And then when you got into the topic of the song, it just everything came together. The beat made sense, the lyrics made sense, and then I liked the song. I was like, my notes like this song hit, man, because and I'll tell you why. The lyrics, right? You mentioned. How you respond when something goes wrong tells you more about a person than the faces they put on. And I had like experienced that at work the I think probably the same day. I was like, this dude, man, like it was so cool. And then like you see one thing that stresses him out, and then I'm like, this guy, man, what yeah, what man, what a mask that he wears. And then I heard that line that night. I was like, dude, really, man, I don't want to get good at faking it. It's like poison for the soul, and once you drink it, it sinks in, you lose control. And so, I think the experience, right, and what I was able to draw with it, what I saw that day, just I was like, this song. I saw this song hit, man. So this is great, great. Under the Knife, I love it, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro, and you can know, man, whenever we're doing these things, if a
yeah,
beat don't hit you or something, or a song don't hit you, I don't take it personal.
yeah, yeah,
I feel like everybody, um, like there's going to be these degrees of our taste. And even like when
yeah,
I'm creating things, I'm not going to like it all equally. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like all of us, we're going to be like, oh,
yeah,
I really like how that came out, or oh, it's cool. I mean, it accomplished what I wanted to accomplish.
yeah,
So yeah, Under the Knife is a unique one where I
yeah,
found for some, they're not sure what they think about it. And then for others, it's been their favorite. So it's
yeah,
been, because it starts off kind of off kilter where you're like, I don't know if I can fully catch the melody of the beat.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it just kind of comes together. It makes sense for that song.
Yeah, I thought it did, and so I had a change of heart. But like I mentioned, I didn't like it until I heard it all in its complete form, and then
Yeah, yeah,
I was like, oh, this makes sense, man. And then the
yeah.
line, and then I was just like, this line, let me play that black. Just that was great. So a great song. And then again, we move on to the next track, eight, Wild. Again, lyricism at its finest. My testimony, 40 days and 40 nights. Mortified of flesh and bandage of these alligator bites. The trauma lasts longer than these surface scratches. Man, again, just good lyrics to make me reflect, right? I can't go backwards. I got people who depend on me. I spend my energy to protect them from the enemy. The predators are here, so I pray for the prey and thank God every day, even when the skies are gray. Man, that's good. But yeah, just a testimony to what you were saying earlier about, I do these things in the end, even though I love it, it is for my family, right? To a certain degree. And yeah, it just makes sense when you explain it and then I dissect these lyrics. It's great. Yeah. Any special thoughts on this song?
Not really, man. I mean, that beat, I always joke like
Yeah.
probably that one, I don't know, I probably got like 5 years ago or whatever. It would have went like a lot harder when I first got it. Sounds like that they start to get a little more dated.
Yeah.
Um, but it was a good challenge. I don't think I've ever really rapped on a beat like that
Yeah.
before. And so it
Oh,
was a good challenge. A
yeah.
lot of what I was thinking about and why I called it wild, me and my wife, we were watching this show Alone. If you
Okay.
ever seen that, where the people go and try and survive on their own in the wilderness and who can make it the longest.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man, we like look at these various things. Like somebody could post an update on their Facebook. Yo, I just ran a marathon, beat my time.
Okay.
And man, people would they'll blow up their comments like, yo, so you did awesome, da da da. But like if somebody jumped on Facebook, like, yeah, I cooked healthy meals for my kids all year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, A, you probably wouldn't even post that, but then B, like very few people are going to give you a high five for that
Yeah.
and yet it's really valuable. And so
Yeah.
part of like what I wanted to get at too is like faithfulness doesn't always get cheered for. The things like I'm sitting here talking about working hard for the benefit of others, but sometimes you do it and it seems like nobody notices.
Yeah. Oh man.
And there's other things you could do that might get more applauded,
Yeah.
and yet it's not what actually the people around you need. And so it's like, what do my kids need right now? Do they need dad to run a marathon,
Yeah.
or do they need dad to be there for them, and so on and so forth. And so that's kind of like the idea of the wild is like, you know it's it's dangerous and difficult just to be faithful in ordinary life,
Yeah.
and things that we can undermine. But when you see like a home that's well managed,
Yeah.
when you see kids that are being cared for, like that don't just happen by accident. You know
No.
what I mean? Like somebody's putting effort and intention there, and it's easy to just overlook it like, oh yeah, that's nothing. But I'm like, no, go look at a home where the kids are neglected
Yeah.
and see the difference, or go look to a home where the pantry is filled with junk food and the kids, never have nutritious meals cooked for them, and look at the difference that it makes. And you realize like, no, somebody's actually putting intention and effort
Yeah.
into things that maybe no one's applauding them for, but
Yeah.
it's making a difference again.
Yeah. And I think you're right. You don't appreciate the complexity as something that seems so simple, right? And I jotted this line down. You mentioned it. What's more hardcore, running a marathon or running a home? And I was like, damn, that's a great point, man, because of the way that you have to orchestrate running a good home is just
Yeah,
as difficult as the training regimen, right? It just depends on
yeah,
what you put your energy in. And so,
yeah.
man, I love that. That was a great thinker line for me as an adult, the themes, a mature Braille and yeah, yeah, it's just I mean, it's just like earlier on, you like me as a younger listener and not having all these responsibilities, I'm like bars, bars, bars. And then as I'm older now, mid 40 guy, I'm like, yo, these themes, life lessons, preach on, man. I enjoy it. So great, great song. Yeah. And you do it again on multiple choice, more lines. So yeah, I think you achieved your goal of just creating and just writing without without having to think of complex topics because it comes naturally if you're having fun. And this was another one I had to play back a couple times, um, but it hit me too, right? This is my life, homie. You decide yours, right? And too many times we have comments about other people's lives. Just worry about your stuff, right? So many voices that influence our choices. We need noise cancellation from the noise pollution. Been cruising in a state of confusion. This line right here. I'm here to help you see clear when I drop solution, man. Oh, yeah. That's MC and me appreciating the double entendre. I love it. It's
Yeah,
great.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, what a great song. Who came up with that multiple choice concept? That was the other feature with Sail Out the Corner and great.
Yeah.
Yeah, very calculated, good features on the album. But yeah.
Multiple choice, like Jesus teaches, there's the broad way and there's the narrow way. And I think sometimes like there it can seem like, oh, there's just this indefinite. I see this a lot of times with people where they're like, man, there's too many options and it's overwhelming. It's almost like paralyzing, like, oh, am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? But then it's like I'm breaking it down to say, like, what if really you first just figure out what is like the narrow way, what is the like the right way, the faithful way to go, and then there's all these other ways. There's a bunch of variations of unfaithfulness, but in terms of faithfulness, if I start moving in that direction, some of these other choices, some of these other details, they're going to start sorting themselves out,
Mm,
right? Because I'm going to have to shed certain things. I'm going to have to, so there's some clarification.
okay.
And in that, where if I'm thinking of the narrow way specifically as Jesus, it's like, man, if I follow him,
Yeah.
I will be able to figure out um, through his teaching, through his guidance, through his saving work, I'll be able to figure out all these other things that I got to figure out. But first, let me just pick the way that I'm going to go,
Yeah.
And but it's interesting because I'm taking something real deep, but then
Yeah.
I'm using like bars and lyricism and having fun with it at the same time.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, and very consistent again. And I did keep in mind too, this was like the first album you wrote in some time, and I'm like, dude, this guy just picks up where he left off. It's amazing, and even like steps up like 20 floors higher, man. It's great. Just a great listen, especially for a fan who's been a fan of your music for a long time. And so again, lyrics, you captured that. Ghost was my other favorite beat, and then Sardis. Just both things that you mentioned. I think people go ghost because they broke, so I'm gonna get ghosted because I'm gonna love the broken. I'm gonna love the broke. It's easier to disappear. Just
Mm.
very thought provoking for me, and and I captured I guess the big theme for me too was just to kind of live your life and let it work out the way that it's supposed to, right? In Sardis, just oh man, you mentioned look alive but dead inside, right? And man, just the wear and tear that life does, and you try to find that self motivation. These novices are jealous of the harvest we reap, and they can't keep up regardless. They criticize online, but the charges never stick because they always miss the target, and all the outside interruptions that you experience when you're trying to do your thing. But yeah, man, I don't know, every song, man, very introspective, and I don't know if it's the minister in you or just what inspired that, but man, always thought provoking, and I enjoy that as a listener.
Yeah, Sardis is interesting because in Revelation in the Bible, there's this city called Sardis,
Okay. Oh.
and Sardis is this city where, from a distance, it looks like it's all put together. They have a good reputation, but then actually inside they're rotting. So that's where that like look alive, but it's dead
Yeah,
inside.
I know. It's like, oh,
I was noticing within music,
yeah.
it could be the same thing where, and so that first verse, I'm actually like, it's like, oh yeah, look at all we're doing, you know, drawing attention to everything that's external. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is healthy, this is good because look at all the success that's coming with it, you know. And it's like, but wait, if in the inside it's rotten, if in the inside it's wrongly motivated, then like all of that is just a show.
Yep.
And so, and then in the second verse, I'm kind of turning that to say like, man, I've gotta check my own motives for why do I do the things that I do? Am I just trying to get the applause of people, the approval of people, or am I seeking through my work to glorify God? Am I seeking through my work to benefit other people, to serve? And so, yeah, Sardis is it's like it's if you could mix like lyricism,
Yeah.
Bible nerd, introspective, uh kind of prophetic warning, you know, it's like people can engage with it at a bunch of different levels. I feel like it's kind of it'll be a sleeper song. I'm like, man, there's probably like, you know, most of the layers of reference probably won't everybody catch it. But then even on the lyricist side, it was
Yeah.
like using the same rhyme scheme for the whole song, you know? And so it's like I'm challenging myself artistically, but then there's also a message that I'm seeking to convey. So that was like, that one was a lot of fun to write, of like just watching it unfold. Like, I don't know, you know, if I tried to write that song again, it would be something completely different, you
Yeah.
know, but it
Yeah.
worked out.
Yeah. Final product was really great. And you end the album with the shore. And again, I've talked about it many times during the interview about just kind of letting go and let God, work his plan out. And you mentioned, until we reach the shore, I'm still out. Until we reach the shore, I'm still out at sea, haven't reached the shore. And then until then, you're just doing your thing. We work it out because God is working in us, right? Yeah, again, yeah, but really, really cool, introspective lyrics. But then you touch on themes like death, right? You talk about it still rips me, hits me like a blitzkrieg, caught me off guard. He was only in his 50s, role model for many, father figure in the faith. It's a mystery, still aching, asking why did God take him? And yeah, yeah, just again, very mature topics. And again, as probably an older listener, it, yeah, well, I don't want to limit it to older listener, but as a listener, for sure, yeah, I can feel that, right? So, yeah, and what was the choice with this being the last song? Did you feel that it was an executive summary of everything, or
I knew it was gonna be the last song.
yeah,
I thought I was gonna more tell a story of it was gonna complement Intense, where I was gonna tell a story of, you know, keep doing my work until I reach the end or whatever. But
yeah,
I started like the first words came out and I started reflecting on other people that I knew who had already
yeah,
passed away.
uh-huh,
And I was like, yeah, I'm not actually going to tell my own story on this song. I'm
yeah,
going to tell other people's stories. And so the first gal I'm talking about, because as a pastor, I have
yeah,
relationships with people of all different ages. So I start
yeah,
thinking about this gal, 99, and I'm like, man, she would encourage me and use even the words she would say, you know, at the very end of her life. I remember like she was still in pretty good physical health, especially for a 99-year-old, man. She would walk around, but she knew her days were, you know, limited.
yeah,
And yeah, she would always seek to like encourage me when I would see her. And that just really it left a mark on me. I'm like, man, she finished her race well. But then I start talking about this other gal. She was one of my neighbors, but
uh-huh,
90 years old, and her legs had given out. And so she really couldn't walk. She's just sitting in a chair just day after day.
uh-huh,
And she'd get really discouraged. But me and her had this connection where I could just walk in the room. She would point at a chair. She'd like sit down, and she would just want me to like sing to her or pray for her,
uh-huh.
and it was like her countenance would lift, and I was like, man, she knew what she needed to keep going.
Nice,
And it was like she was barely hanging on, but she made it, you know. But then the second verse, I
yeah,
mean, I didn't expect to write it, but one of my fellow pastors, he went in for a heart surgery. It seemed to go well. And then, you know, 3 months later, we were getting the word that his heart, he needed actually a heart replacement, but his heart was too weak. He wouldn't even survive the surgery.
oh, gee,
And, you know, so we lost him, and we weren't expecting that at all. And yet I was like, man, even though he only lived to his 50s, he still modeled for me how to run his race well, because he made sure all of his things that needed to be handled were handled, even as he was preparing to go in for the surgery. And when we did his funeral, man, the people lined up to express the impact that his life made on them. It was humbling. It was just utterly humbling. I'm like, I could be like, oh, why didn't he have 10 more years? Or why didn't he have this? Man, he made the most of the time he had, and he impacted us. And so I was like, yeah, this ain't about me. I will eventually reach the shore, but I'm not there yet. But
Yeah.
here's some people that I know that did reach the shore, and they stayed faithful, to the very end. And so I'm kind of looking to them as a cloud of witnesses. I'm looking to them as just a reminder to stay focused on what really matters.
Yeah.
And yeah, and being confronted with those things, man, it's really humbling. I mean, I think I talked about this last time, but if not, yeah, I mean, I've officiated 17 or so funerals
Oh,
and spent
oh,
a lot of time around people at the end of their life. And it's interesting because you would think that that would make you like afraid of death, or might make you think like, what's the point in it all? But it actually just puts your life in perspective, because it's like, I'm going to get old. It's not like I can ignore it. I could pretend like it's not going to happen, but it's absolutely going to happen.
no
You
doubt.
watch it happen to other people. Like, I mean, I'm feeling older as 44, but that ain't the same as being 80. And like, I'm gonna get older. My life is gonna come to an end. And knowing that today, it makes me think differently about my life, right? It makes me think differently about what I'm investing in, what I'm building towards, what's important to me.
Mm.
And there's a psalm, Psalm 90. It says, "Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." And that that's kind of part of what I'm doing in this song, is
Yeah.
watching the numbered days of others who went before me, and being like, yeah, man, I want to run my race faithfully. I want to serve the Lord and serve other people. And that chant, it kind of ends side A of the record, and side B, we work it out because God is working in us. Like, it's because he created me. I didn't, I'm I'm just here, man. You know what I mean? I didn't make this universe. God made it. I didn't give myself life. God gave me life. And then now redeeming me in Jesus Christ. Like, bro, I was a broken man. I would just be wandering, acting foolish. But God has been gracious to me. He's shown me mercy. My life is not my own. The Lord bought me. I belong to Him, and He can use me however He wants me, for as long as He wants to.
Yeah.
And then when He calls me home, I'm ready to go home. But until He does, I'm here to serve Him and serve others. And I think that just like clarity, kind of clarion call, it just puts my life in perspective.
Wow. Yeah, man. Hey, always thankful for the insight into the album, and again, just all the themes and all the times that you had helped me self-reflect through the album. Really great project. Handcrafted Raps, never lost a step, but only gained more. And yeah, just really impressive project, and uh, an overwhelming show of just dope lyricism, dope hip hop in general. So always an honor speaking with you, and thank you again. Time is a finite resource and probably the most important thing to me. So when somebody gives me some time, I'm very thankful. So thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you, bro. I mean, it's really kind of you to take time to listen,
Uh,
prepare thoughts and comments, and share this time together. So I really appreciate it. And yeah, it's always a pleasure. I'll
yeah.
continue sending you stuff as
Yeah.
there's another one on the way.
Oh man, dude, I'm glad.
Yeah. I connected with this
Yeah.
dude YP from New York, from the Bronx, and he came out, and I just put myself, in the studio with a sharpshooter, just be like, can I keep up with him? So it's
Wow.
just all, yeah, boom bap, you know, kind of aggressive rhyming, but some of it a little more down tempo. But it's called Sober Minded. The first single drops next Friday. So
I'm excited. I can't wait. Yeah, I definitely enjoy doing this stuff, man. It's a hard trick to balance, like making music and podcasting, but just yeah, the discussions are always great, and I love talking rap music or yeah, just culture in general. So always a pleasure. I always love closing out the interview with just a few fun questions. So I'll do that before I turn the floor over to you for one final time. But as we approach the holiday season, what is Braille's favorite holiday movie?
holiday movie. You know, I mean, there was a time I hadn't seen The Elf for like a long, long time, and me and my wife were watching it, and we were cracking up. And then we did it like a couple years in a row, and then it
Yeah,
kind of lost its effect.
yeah,
But still, man, Will Ferrell's physical comedy
yeah.
is pretty funny. So there's not a lot that's sentimental to me when it comes to movies or holidays, but I've gotten some good laughs out of The Elf before.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great movie. Yeah, Will Ferrell is definitely king. Hey, you just finished a trip out to Japan. Your favorite Japanese food? I know you're a bit of a foodie too as well. What was your favorite, or what is your favorite Japanese food?
Man, we had a lot of good stuff. I mean, we had just a great bowl of udon,
Woo!
like
Yeah.
our first night there. And I'm just like, yo, I could eat this every day. They
Yeah.
got these roast beef bowls that I had never had before,
Uh-huh.
and it's like thin sliced wagyu, and
Yeah.
they kind of put it almost like a volcano of thin sliced wagyu with like a raw egg yolk on top and some horseradish. And I was like, now that I don't think I could eat every day,
Yeah.
but when I do eat it, I'm like, I appreciate it, So that was really good too.
All right. Last two questions for you. Hey, we're getting to cold weather pretty soon. Are you a flannel, long sleeve type of guy, or are you a hoodie sweater guy?
So if I'm in my house, I'm a hoodie sweater. If I step out of the house, I'm a flannel jacket.
Okay. All right. Hey, a great answer. And then final question for you as we approach the holidays mentioned, are you a big planner or are you the last minute scrambler when it comes to getting events together? Is that your wife's job or how do you guys break up roles and where do you play in that plan?
Man, to my shame, I'm far too often scrambling, like to my shame. Now,
Yeah.
uh, we do plan certain things. One of the things we do every year is we host it's called Lessons and Carols, and we have people over and we sing a lot of Christmas hymns, and then we have scripture readings in between, and we've done that consistently for like the last 4 years. So my wife usually gets something on the calendar
Okay.
and then invites people. I love that. But
Yeah.
so much of the rest of it, like I'm realizing if I'm gonna get anybody a gift, I better get on it. Like it sometimes, man, it's like a week before Christmas, and I'm like, oh man, so my wife is always ahead of the curve, and she
Yeah.
makes sure that our kids, are taken care of.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like I'm the tyranny of the urgent. I tend to live in it. It's even like I go in the studio. I'm like, I don't got my raps ready, but if you just get me a date where no one's messing with me, I'll
Yeah.
get it figured out.
That's it.
And so I tend to like work best under pressure.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of planning, but
Uh-huh.
in terms of execution, it's like until it has to happen, I just don't get it done.
Braille is there for game day. Don't worry about it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks. Always fun, and I always, yeah, I love these sessions where we can break down your lyrics. Again, big fan of your work, and I'm excited that you have something in the chamber too. So let's keep on doing this as long as you're willing to. But let's close this session out with a final few words from you. Take us home for this. I appreciate your time.
I mean, friends, thank you for listening to the interview. Hope you get a chance to check out the album. And yeah, I guess like the message of it, as we've talked about today, the work that we do, it matters, not just for the work itself, but for the people who benefit from it. And as a believer in Jesus Christ, like my thing is like doing my work unto the Lord. So whatever it is, I'm doing it as a servant of Him, and that brings dignity to everything. But I want everyone to just recognize the dignity of hard work and doing the things that you got to do to take care of the people that you're taking care of. I commend it. I respect it. And I think like it's not a topic that gets addressed a lot in hip hop music, because we're always looking at people who are living the life we wish we could live, that often is happening. And it's like, man, the life that you're living, uh, yeah, keep at it because it actually is impacting the people around you.
100%. Well, again, thank you for your time. I know you're going into the weekend. Please enjoy your weekend. And I'll keep in touch as we get this interview out. A pleasure always. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it, man. See you
Yeah.
later, bro.
Yes, sir.